Hi, book lovers, and welcome to Book Talk Radio Club. My name is Claire Perkins, and today I'm talking to Roger Bray. Roger is the author of Psychosis, When a Dream Turns Deadly, a novel in the mystery suspense genre. Hi, Roger. Thank you for coming to Book Talk Radio Club.
Good morning, Claire. Thanks for having me.
Sure. First of all, would you like to give Book Talk Radio Club's listeners a brief synopsis of Psychosis, When a Dream Turns Deadly?
Not easily without giving too much away, but pretty much it's the story of ordinary people caught up in an extraordinary events. A guy in Eugene, Oregon, is convicted of killing his wife. His sister is convinced that he's innocent, as most sisters probably would, but reaches a point where appeals have failed, and the brother's in jail with little chance of release. But Alice, his sister, pretty much gives up until she meets a stranger in a cafe who convinces her that he can look at the evidence and find a way to get her brother out of jail.
Right.
So between Steve, the guy she meets, and Alice, they look at the evidence that's been presented and find that the prosecution's case is very shaky, and look at breaking down the evidence to get Alex, her brother, out of jail.
Okay. Psychosis is your debut novel. They say authors should write about what they know. Did you draw on any particular experience to write the book?
Not experience as such. I was a police officer for 17 years,
Right.
so I know I've got a lot of experience of how people react to certain given situations, and I think I drew on that experience more than specific experiences in the book.
Right.
My experience with people is what fed into the book.
Okay. Alex is convicted for the murder of his wife Hazel without giving any of the plot away. What kind of man is Alex, and how does he deal with the conviction?
Not well. I think he becomes when the book starts. He is resigned to his sentence and realizes that him being in jail is dragging his sister down as well,
Right.
and he's actually considering probably not so much considering suicide, but considering thinking about suicide, if that makes sense.
Yes.
To release himself, but also his sister Alice from. I mean, she's got the same sentence he has. She just happens to be outside the jail rather than inside it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't just affect the one person. It's like a ripple effect, isn't it? It affects so many people.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So why did you decide to set Psychosis in the USA rather than Australia?
I think originally the idea of setting it in the US was more of a test to see if I could set a novel in an area I wasn't fully familiar with.
Right.
Plus, there's certain aspects in the book that I think work better being in the US than they would in Australia.
Right.
Like the judicial system, the prison systems, things like this. So it was a bit of a test to see if I could do it, but also I found that the characters and the storyline fitted better into the US than it would have done in Australia.
Interesting. That is interesting. At the beginning of your book, you have a quote by Philip K. Dick, author of the Valis trilogy. It has been said of dreams that they are controlled psychosis, or, put another way, a psychosis is a dream breaking through during waking hours. Please, can you explain?
Again, not easily without giving too much away, but the basis of the book, well, I suppose not the basis of the book, the idea is that a psychosis is someone who has a dream and is trying to keep that dream alive regardless of reality.
Right.
So in Psychosis, the novel, we have characters who Alex himself is in jail. He's trying to beat the idea that of what he's supposed to have done.
Yeah.
But other things, other characters as well, are trying to keep dreams alive,
Right.
regardless of the actual reality of the situation.
Interesting. That really is interesting. So, which author inspired you the most to begin writing in the mystery suspense genre?
I've got a very eclectic taste in books and movies. So my inspiration comes from a lot of sources.
Right.
But some of the authors I do very much enjoy reading are Robert Harris, Le Carre, an Australian author called John Birmingham, Bernard Cornwell. They all seem to write novels that they're not genre set. They have different aspects to them, but also each novel they bring out tends to be from a different genre.
Right.
So I enjoy reading. I've just read Robert Harris's An Officer and a Spy, which was really a mystery suspense book, but based on an historical event, the Dreyfus affair in France.
Right.
So I found it really interesting to look at a known event from a different perspective.
Yes.
So these are the sorts of novelists that I look at and look at the way, or not consciously, but certainly I think they've shaped the way I look at the way mystery and suspense novels build on themselves as you read them.
So they've inspired you.
It did, yeah, absolutely.
You say on your website that you have always loved writing, putting words into a page and bringing characters to life. You can almost feel yourself becoming immersed into their lives, living with their fears and triumphs. Did you find that when writing Psychosis that the characters eventually became so real that they were telling you their stories?
Yes, I do think that. There's certain characters in there, and I think any character, when you're writing them, take on their own persona. They take on the personality of people you know, or even parts of yourself. So that they do, even though they do take a little bit of this person, or a little bit of yourself, or a little bit of someone you once met, that all those things combined eventually take on their own character.
Yeah.
So you find yourself writing it and saying, no, they wouldn't say that, or they wouldn't do that, because you've already built up the idea of what they're like.
Yeah.
So even their characters have got to stay in character as the book develops. Yeah, for sure.
You go on to say that your life has been an endless adventure, serving in the Navy, fighting in wars, and serving as a police officer. But it was a downside to your police service that was a catalyst for your writing, giving truth to the often saying that when one door closes, another one opens. May I ask what happened?
I was working as a Queensland police officer, and a lady came to the station I was working at to complain of being assaulted by an ex-boyfriend. He turned up at the station a short time later when I went out to try and talk to him initially, but apprehend him, and he tried to take off in his car. Either bravado or stupidity, I managed to get my hand into his car window to try and turn the keys of the car, and finished up getting my arm trapped.
Yikes.
And getting dragged down the road by his car, or by him driving his car. When I finally pulled myself free, I managed to seriously damage my back.
God, that sounds awful.
Well, it could have been a lot worse, but it was quite a serious injury I suffered.
And the outcome of this was putting yourself through college to gain bachelor and master degrees, which relit your passion for writing in a way that you hadn't felt since high school. Although we don't see it at the time, isn't it amazing how a bad experience can become a positive experience?
Absolutely, and I think it comes down to Yeah, I know when I loved policing, and when I couldn't do it anymore, I suffered greatly from depression for a couple of years.
Sure.
And going to university and getting the degrees was more an exercise in self-help and self-evaluation.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful experience, learning and relearning and dealing with the younger generation and different generations of people.
Sure.
So I think it comes down to, and I'm not particularly saying myself, a lot of people do it, but it comes down to saying, okay, well, looking at the reality of a situation, so that happened, I can't do that anymore. Now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And making the best of a bad situation. And I certainly think I made really, really the best that I could of that situation. Thoroughly enjoyed doing the degrees. The experience, the whole experience of it was fantastic.
So what's next for Roger Bray?
Well, I'm just in the process of finishing another novel, also based in Oregon,
Right.
which is another mystery thriller. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through it, I suppose,
Okay.
and I'm hoping to finish it about mid this year.
Right.
Which is when the process of actually getting it ready for publication starts, which I found, another one of life's experiences, which I found is a lot harder than the actual writing of the book,
Yeah.
or it certainly seems to be at some point.
Okay, so where can Book Talk Radio Club's listeners purchase Psychosis?
At the moment, it's available on Amazon, but I'm just in the process of having it published to print,
Right.
so it'll be available. The details will be on my website, but it will be available through print medium as well, through normal bookstores and other retailers of the novel. But at the moment, it's just on Amazon.
Okay, well, thank you, Roger. That was terrific. Please come back on Book Talk Radio Club when you've published your next book, and I'd love to chat with you and hear more. In the meantime, good luck for the future, and thank you, everyone, for listening to Book Talk Radio Club. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you very much, Claire.
Okay, bye now.
Thank you.